Hey everyone, thanks for joining on another live stream. I'm Hashem, and this is just a random impromptu casual stream to catch up with you all and just to start things off for the year. And yeah, I just want to say Happy New Year. Hope you're all well and that you're having a good start to 2022. Crazy to think that it's already been another year. And I know everyone says this, and I know we all feel it as we get older, as time goes on. It seems like it passes faster. And apparently that's actually a fact. It's a psychological thing in the way our brains work as we get older. But anyway, enough about that. Let me know if you're here live, how you're doing, and maybe where you're watching from. I've just gotten up a few hours ago now. It is Thursday morning here in Melbourne. So you might be overseas, in which case it's late at night or very early in the morning, depending. And yeah, I made myself a coffee. It's a nice filter brew, so I'm going to just be drinking this while I'm streaming. So I'm sorry if that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, I've got my little pot of filter brew. And if anyone is curious, it's a V60. I either have AeroPress or V60 coffees most of the time. But yeah, what are your plans for 2022? What are your photography plans? Are you taking any major shifts in the way that you're partaking in your own photography, especially when it comes to shooting film? I know a lot of people kind of go through these ups and downs, and the prices, for example, of film keep changing and making it a little bit harder to afford shooting maybe as much film as we could 4 or 5 years ago. I know for me that's a case. But yeah, let's just check in on the live chat. See if this is working. Cool, you can see the chat on the screen. Awesome. Fluke, hey, how's it going? You're in Sydney waiting for Negs to come back. All right, where'd you send them to? Do you use Rewind or one of the Sydney labs? Interesting to know where people send their film. Nathan, hey man, thanks for joining from the UK. Yeah, I thought it'd be pretty late over there, but I'm glad you're up that late. Happy New Year. Thanks, mate. Hope you're all having a good start. I know it's a little bit weird in some parts of the world with what's going on in this latest Omicron thing that I try not to talk about if possible. But Anthony, hey, how's it going? Hannah Gimblet Photography, hey, I'm watching from Devon, England. Cool, got another person from England. Happy New Year. Thanks, you too. Yeah, how is the situation in the UK? I mean, as much as we don't want to sit here talking about the world situation, it is what's going on, and it's kind of hard to avoid, and it's part of the reason I think a lot of us are sitting at home right now. Perhaps, I don't know, are you at home because you're avoiding work? Are you working from home? Are you isolating yourself? If you're here in Melbourne or Sydney, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Aaron might start bulk loading HP5. Nice, that's a way to go. I think bulk loading is a really good way to cut costs, and yeah, I do it either with color film sometimes or with black and white. I only have one bulk loader. What I'd like to do is buy a second one so I can have one with HP5 in it and one with Kodak Vision. That way I can cut a lot of costs. Excuse me. Daniel Caridi, hey man. Yeah, it was good to bump into you that day. I heard that you've been out shooting by the beachside, and I was gonna try and join you guys at some point, but the weather's turned a bit bad here in Melbourne now, so we'll see if that happens. How are you? I'm good. Yeah. Stephen, thanks for joining. But yeah, when it comes to my plans, I'm not stopping shooting film anytime soon. If anything, I've been shooting more than ever, I think, and I really don't know why. I think it's because of the lockdowns that we went through over the last 2 years. It created this kind of hunger to go out and shoot. So then every time a lockdown would end, or when there was an opportunity, I would just go nuts and be out shooting. And perhaps even during lockdown, because there was very little to do, I would still be shooting around the house or around the neighborhood. however I could. I know a lot of you guys experience this. I mean, how many photos of mailboxes and cars parked out the front of houses have you seen on social media in the last year? If that's an indication. Sorry, guys. I just realized I don't have my voice yet. I haven't really spoken until I started this stream. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep shooting, but to give you an idea, I looked at my total amount of rolls shot through, let's say, my Leica M, the camera I use the most by far. And I think I'd shot about 60 something rolls, which for me is more than I think I've shot in any previous year. And that is mostly color. So probably 40, 50 rolls color, the rest black and white, which I developed myself. So if I was to do a cost calculation, which is I think good to do every now and then to kind of take stock of how much money you're spending on something like this. And counting processing, that's probably at $10 or $13 a roll, which is what I pay. Usually 13 for 35 mil. Probably $800, which is a lot of money over a year. What is that? I don't know, $70 a month or something. But then also the cost of the film. And I admittedly don't pay too much for film. I don't buy a lot of Portra, and I tend to buy it in bulk or get good deals or have connections or whatever. I'm pretty lucky, I guess, in that sense. But that's still $100 a month. And then there's also the cost of black and white chemistry and whatever, which I kind of factored into that. So if I times the 66 rolls or whatever it was, that is what's giving me the $800. But yeah, that is what it is. And film prices are going up. And I shoot a lot of Pro Image, which used to be really cheap. Now it's only somewhat cheap at $40 a 5-pack, $42 a 5-pack plus shipping, and then it's going to be going up again this month. So yeah, this rant is just to say that film prices are going up. And even for someone like me who shoots a lot of film, I am starting to think about how much I'm spending and to kind of plan out ways I can offset some of that cost a little bit. So I sold some film cameras I'm not using, including my Contax TVS recently. As sad as that was, I really loved that little point and shoot camera. I just wasn't using it enough. And what else? I'm selling off like an old Yashica point and shoot, and I sold an Olympus point and shoot that I wasn't using. I've got another one I want to sell, and I'm just going to keep the Samsung point and shoot that I like the most. And then I'm going to buy a Fuji X100V because a lot of that film I shot in the Leica was on the streets, and I could easily offset some of that onto digital. I won't stop shooting film, but yeah, I don't want to be spending way too much because there's already, the cost of the film and processing, and I shoot 120, and then I got a lot of work where I shoot film for work as well. So I know some of it's kind of being paid for. I do portraits for whether it's weddings or families or magazine stuff, but still, I'm not someone who's a film elitist and thinks that that's the only way to shoot anything. So I have always shot my Canon digital, but I don't use that on the street and for travel. I want something small for travel, and I think I'll be getting the Fuji. I tried the X Pro 3 for that video. I liked it, but if I was going to go something that serious, I think I would just get a Leica M digital camera. So I can't afford that right now, but I can probably afford X100. So yeah, let me know if anyone else is in the same boat, how you're kind of treating this rising prices thing. Is it going to cause you to reduce the amount of film you shoot? You just ignore it and shoot anyway? Is it a non-issue for you? Are you going to stop altogether? I'd be interested to know because I'm trying to gauge what the current climate is with people's mindsets on that. Anyway, let me catch up on some comments. So using local lab in Sydney, do film lab. Oh, cool. Yeah. So you probably bump into Jess, Viva La Film, if you guys are familiar. I might try and do a zine or print by the end of the year. Nice. That'd be good. Nathan, partner, got me a book. Idea is a new experimental photography related idea. That's cool. What was like creative stuff like that? Out with Damon shooting some black and white street. Nice. Yeah, I was trying to do that yesterday. I was hoping it would rain. We went out to the city. I was with my friend Josh and had the flash and everything ready to try and do some black and white street photography work with the flash and trying to light up the rain droplets, something I've always wanted to experiment with, but it didn't rain after all. It rained really heavily over in the west in Ballarat, but it didn't end up hitting the city in time while it was still somewhat normal hours. So we called it a day and went home. Hannah, we certainly live in strange times. I've been completely bedbound for 2.5 years. I'm sorry to hear. So I haven't been out since pandemic started. Right. Yeah, I hope everyone's holding up in their part of the world. Well, I'm glad there's avenues and things like this to keep you connected to other people. And even if it's just like random YouTube photographers like me, I'm glad that you're here and that you're doing all right considering. Fluke. Still allowed to walk down by the beach during lockdown is pretty much what I've been doing. Fluke. Where are you based in? You're in Sydney, but you're in lockdown? Oh, that was probably, you mean in the past, before that. Unless you're in a self-imposed lockdown. I know a lot of people are doing that. It's cool. Daniel, have a bulk load on finishing Delta that's in there, contemplating throwing a roll of HP5 Vision. What's your process for processing ECN2? I don't process ECN2, I just do it in C41 chemistry. It's cheaper and more accessible. You can just buy, Tetanol kits or Unicolor or CineStill, whatever. Finding ECN2, you can do it, you can buy the kits, but especially here in Australia, you have to pay a lot for shipping and it's more expensive, and I don't see much benefit to it. I've had film processed in ECN2. I've had film from similar photography sessions processed in both ECN2 and C41 from the same stock, same batch, and compared them side by side. The difference to me isn't worth it at all. There's not much difference, but that's my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree, or it's just a common misconception that you have to process ECN2 to get the most out of the film. I don't believe that's true at all, but yeah, let me know if you want more help with that at some point down the track. Rayman, hey dude. Did all the Kodak film go up in price? I believe all of it is going up in price as far as those press releases said. In January, so this month at some point, it's meant to have an official 15-20% price rise. Any advice on starting film photography? When should you take people's feedback that your photos aren't good versus when to trust your style of photography? Advice for starting is to just maybe go out and do it without listening too much to feedback. Sure, look at other photography you need if you need something to start off for inspiration, but try and think about what interests you and shoot it in your own way and just keep doing it repeatedly over and over again. And when it does come to feedback, feedback shouldn't be someone saying that your photos aren't good. I mean, it should be a little bit more critical in the sense that they're saying your photography, this photo could have been better if you did this, or could have been more telling a certain story if you had composed, whatever, something a little bit more deep than that. And versus trusting your style, I think, yeah, trust your style as far as you can take it until you're open to sort of other people's feedback. And it should be constructive, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Steven, it's making your X100V gas worse. Really? Don't you have a pretty reliable compact digital body? See, I love my Canon systems. I still shoot Canon EOS, like my 5D. It's a great camera, and I have great lenses for it. I just don't shoot it on the street. It's not suitable for street photography or travel. And when last time I did travel, went overseas, I specifically bought a little Panasonic Lumix G something just to take traveling. But that wasn't the best. I ended up selling that shortly after coming back from that trip to Nepal and Bangladesh and whatever. But yeah, I've always wanted something like that. A Leica M10P would be awesome, but that's just way unrealistic for me. So yeah, what do you shoot with, Stephen? I know you have the film stuff, but I don't know what you shoot for digital. I thought it was also Leica digital. Raymond, Canon, popular rangefinder, Klarhet. What do you think of Fuji's new film release yesterday? Fuji Color 200. I'm pretty sure it's just Fuji C200. I even always referred to Fuji C200 as Fuji Color 200 sometimes because that's what it says on the film canister. And sometimes in the system, the computer systems, back when I used to work at the camera store or even in reference, that film was referred to as Fuji Color 200 or Fuji C200, which is Fuji Color 200. It's just a naming thing. So I'm 99.9% certain it's not a new emulsion. It's just Fuji renaming it to rebranding. Because they did use the naming convention Fuji Color 200 as well. It's what it said on the little canister, I think. I wish I had one here somewhere. Do I? Probably not. Michaela, hey, thanks for joining. Stephen, it's been almost impossible to get consumer grade color film Canon in my local stores. Been sold out of Ultramax, Color Plus, Pro Image. Wow, yeah, I've been hearing that's the case. Such a backlog of unshot film in my fridge. I wonder what's better, having a massive backlog of film you have shot but can't afford to process, or a massive backlog of film in the fridge ready to shoot. I think the latter, the fridge one, would be better. I would get such a massive itch knowing I've taken all these photos and having to wait months to see them. Found a Leica 3F. Oh, that's a good price. Constant rise in prices is affecting how much I can shoot. I'm mostly using digital now and I shoot very selectively. Yeah, that is a common sentiment that I'm starting to find. And it's almost like this film wave kind of like came in this big peak and it's going to kind of like plateau out and do this sort of thing. Because everything kind of comes in waves, I think. Greetings. Hope I can use my Hasselblad more. Haven't been able to shoot much the last few months. Yeah, I know it's tough, especially over in Italy. I think it's a bit quiet there at the moment, and I know some of the neighboring countries went into lockdowns, but not Italy. So, my partner Sarah's in Italy right now. She's in Venice. Silver Junior. Well, in 2022, I'm maybe quitting photography. Honestly, why is that? I'd be interested to hear. Stephen, you have a GR2? Ah, yeah, right. That'd be cool. But the lack of viewfinder really bugs me, and no weather resistance. Yeah. So I was actually considering for this like small travel street digital camera solution, a Ricoh GR3, because they look awesome and they have the two options with different lenses. And for the same reasons, I would prefer a viewfinder. I like shooting from eye level. I'm just so used to it and I like it. Also the weather resistance and also the battery life on the GR is not very good. So coming from shooting an MA where I don't even have to think about batteries, I don't want to go to the opposite extreme where the battery's dying every 100 shots or whatever. Because I tend to just spend a lot of time walking and waiting for shots and having the camera in standby. So the X100 had a much better battery life, and then also I will use it for some video stuff for the channel, for B-roll and for travel, photography. So it's just a much more suitable system. And plus, I prefer 35mm focal length over 40 or even 28 for that matter. Yeah. Sorry, Stephen, if I'm giving you more gas. Also got an Nikon FM really cheap and very good condition, so winter seasons are going to be great for the shots I take. Hopefully ski trips. Yeah, gotta love the snow. Yeah, that'd be really good. Is Agfa Vista Plus Fuji C200? That I'm not sure. I think Agfa Vista Plus was Fuji's superior 200 emulsion, and there was a subtle difference in the data sheets for Superior 200 and Fuji Color 200 or Fuji C200. But I don't know how to describe those differences exactly or if it is true. But as far as I know, Agfa 200 was definitely a Fuji 200 after they changed over from the original German stock. And whether it was C200 or Superior 200, I'm not sure. I think it was Superior 200 because Agfa Vista 400 was Fuji Superior 400. Sorry guys, I'm probably falling way behind, but I'll get to your comments if I quickly breeze through. Just hope camera prices drop with it. That might happen, I think. It might take a while. Could wait till 2023 for a significant drop in average prices, I think. Maybe late this year even. Not buying more gear and use what I already have. That's a good, let's call it resolution or decision. Yeah, that's what I kind of faced. I sold off what I wasn't already using, and I can't say I stopped buying new gear because that's hard not to do. The latest thing I bought was just a lens for my digital system that I'll use for weddings and events at 28mm 1.8 for Canon. So photos are pet to the vest. Yeah. Get some road trips from Sydney. Yeah, that would be really cool actually. Get away from the city crowds. I've been meaning to try and do something like that. I need to get a posse together. Good morning. Bitten by the large format bug. Oh yeah, definitely have to slow down with that. It's kind of meditative. Trying more film stocks and also pushing film, obviously. Nice, thanks. GR3 also took a built-in flash. Yes, exactly. That's another thing. I like the option for having the flash. I guess you can adapt one, but for such a tiny camera, it doesn't make sense having an extra, bulky, potentially flash, unless it was wireless. But it's still odd that they removed it. Curious what their next version would look like. Yeah, GR4. Who knows? Going to get my Canon P serviced and shoot mostly 35mm. Daytona, Las Vegas. Nice. Sounds good. Yeah, looking forward to what you do, man. I recently started watching some of your videos. I'm pretty sure I subscribed to the channel. I just don't get time often to go through all the channels I'm subscribed to and watch them all. But I did watch some of your recent stuff where you took a road trip somewhere in the US, and it was good stuff. So I'm looking forward to more. Steven, definitely gassing you up. Sorry, man. Is it sold out everywhere? I was hearing that. Down here it's not, and it goes on sale for good prices. So to give you an idea, you're in Canada, right? It's about 1,600 Australian dollars on sale. Normally it's about 2,000 retail, but we have companies here like DigiDirect and Ted's and George's Camera. They keep putting it on sale because they're competing with each other, and they do it for Boxing Day. They have Boxing Day sales. And I keep seeing it for 1,600, and I'm like, oh, that's good price. But then I'm still waiting in case it gets even cheaper. In the past, it has been even less than 1,500 Australian dollars. So to put that into perspective for you in Canada, that's like even less. That's like, I don't know, 1,000 US dollars for an X100V. And there's stock. So I don't know. Maybe stock will come back soon. Worst thing I had. The worst thing is that you had an X100F, sold it for an X Pro 3, sold everything, kept the Ricoh. Yeah, well, it's okay. I'm sure you made a good chunk of your money back, and then if you ever buy back into that system, you get the newer versions because they keep improving them. Modifying Zenit cameras, cool. Hopefully makes X-Pan prices drop. I don't know about that, maybe. I think they eventually will have to. I think there's going to be kind of this like critical mass thing that will eventually happen with film prices, and they should, well, the camera prices at least, because as it becomes more prohibitive and people start to do what I'm doing and what people have mentioned they're doing, and offset some of those costs onto shooting more digital and just embracing a little bit of those like maybe older digital cameras and emulations and whatever, and using film as a way to just get into photography, which I know a lot of people, younger people, have done. The prices of film cameras will ideally go down. Could be wrong. I saw you subscribed a bit ago. Thanks for the support. Plenty more to come. Cool. That's a great deal. They're about 1,800 Canadian dollars. Ooh, yeah. And that's used, which is literally... I wonder if there would be some way I could help you out and get you one over there, but then it would be an Australian version and you would have issues with warranty. Yeah. Unless I can like direct you to some of these online stores and maybe they ship internationally, if you don't mind having the Australian model and the warranty issue. Yeah, let me know. Message me on Instagram, because that's crazy. Because yeah, I know what it's like. I wouldn't buy the US version if I could avoid it, but maybe if it's that much of a difference, it could be worth it. Because it would be kind of like a gray market copy, and you'd probably have to pay taxes on it too. I didn't think about that. Hey, dude. What's your interest in X100V over other systems you can't swap out lenses with? Well, because I primarily would use it for my street and documentary photography, which I normally do with this camera, my Leica M with a 35mm lens on it. And I very ever rarely use anything but a 35mm lens. So that's why the fact that it doesn't interchange lenses would be fine, because that's what I would be using. What else was part of that question? Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing when it comes to being able to swap lenses out. And it's the affordability and the size and the compactness, you see. And it's like, well, if I really could, I would get the digital version of this and be able to use the same lenses. But, you know, even an old M8 or M9 is way too overpriced, I think, for what it is. Maybe one day I'll wait for M10 M10s or M10Ps or whatever to get cheaper, because the M11 is coming out very soon. And when I say cheaper, I mean, you know, closer to half their brand new retail price. Yeah, I'm not in the position to be paying $10,000 for cameras, unfortunately. Nor would I really, unless I definitely had a lot of spare money. I'd rather spend it on traveling. But I don't know, maybe. Steven, don't do it. I actually got into film because digital is stupid expensive to get into. I mean, yeah, in a way, that's true. Got a Pentax with 50, with f2 lens, 15 quid. Yeah, that's a rare find these days, though, to find bargains like that anymore. Don't think I'll shoot even close to 500 quid worth of film in a year or two. Yeah, I mean, if you're a casual user, it's absolutely, I think, better in some ways to just shoot a bit of film here and there. That's what, I mean, I still do it. For all my personal work, I'm still mostly shooting film. But for someone like me, I kind of overdo it, and I go out and shoot a lot of rolls out on the street, and then I shoot around the house, and I shoot for jobs, and I start shooting film at some wedding jobs, and then for the videos I do on the channel and whatever. And yeah, if it's 66 rolls in 1 year just in that camera, I don't even want to count how many 120 rolls I shot and the cost of everything combined. So it's a very different position, I think, to be in when it comes to that. Yeah, interesting to hear all these points of view, guys. But what else are your plans for 2022 creatively? Is anyone working on releasing? I know someone mentioned they're working on a zine. Is anyone else working on building a body of work, like working on a series or a project, whether it's someone here or overseas? Are you just going to keep shooting for fun, for the enjoyment of it, just to document your life, or are you someone who is starting to lean more towards working on something? I know I still want to keep working on projects. I have in the past, but I have another book that I'm hopefully working on. When I say book, I don't know if it's going to be another zine like my last one, or more of a solid sort of hardcover book. But I have been shooting for it. I have maybe shot at least half the content that I want for it, but it's an ongoing project. And that's a lot of that is what I'm shooting all this film for as well. So that's what I mean in that I will still keep shooting it. But yeah, hopefully that book will come out sometime this year. I don't want to put a date on it because I need to still keep shooting images for it. And Nox got an M3. Nice. It's perfect for 50mm. That's right. Yep. And for 35, I use an Olympus. Cool, cool. Mohammed, I love your channel. Thanks, man. If we get to the point that film cameras go down in price, then we will know film will die. You reckon? That's actually an interesting point. Cameras need to get expensive enough to entice companies to produce them again. But haven't they already done that? I think they already have. And when I say they'll go down, I don't think they'll plummet. I think they'll just stabilize. Because let's say using a Contax T3 as an example, a few $100s years ago, and then it's gone up to whatever 1,000 now. I think it'll just stabilize back down to 700-800 or whatever it is. And certain cameras like that. But I don't know. That's an interesting point. Hamish, take a break from shooting solo for a few months, hitting burnout period. Yeah, I know what that feels like. Trying to have my first gallery show. Nice. And print photo books this year. That's cool, man. I'll have to check out some of your photography. J-Yang. Moose, hey man, working on something that I'm not really ready to share yet. Yeah, cool. I mean, that's always interesting. And whether or not you share the stuff that goes towards the project. And that's something that if anyone who is watching, for example, saw some of the photos from my zine or even bought it, which I thank you for, you'll know that a lot of those images weren't the kind of things that I was, let's say, posting on Instagram. Maybe one or two of them, but I mostly kept them aside until they were ready for release in that particular book, because I think it gives them a life of their own. But I, still have no problem sharing some of it or even a big portion of it. And the same thing is happening for my next series. It is going to be very different from the sun-dried strip in terms of photographic style, but I have not been really sharing any of the images that are going to be in that book. So a lot of what I have been shooting, all these rolls out on the street, I do share on Instagram, for example, but a lot of it is being kept aside. And the reason I am going out to shoot is to try and get shots that suit this particular series I'm working on. And then the ones that don't end up suiting that series, wow, what a twister, I just share anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting thing whether or not to share all the stuff. And Moose, I like that kind of approach where you at least save some of it and give it a life of its own in something physical, in a book or an exhibition or whatever. I think that works well. But then, yeah, sharing some of it, teasing some of the shots digitally online, that's good too. I think it helps, especially if you're trying to get the product out there. Marco Antionetti. I bought my first SLR in 2013. Came 1,000, 150 euros. Cool. Now buy just the lens at this price. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's up, my man? This year is to clean out the garbage of my past years, so I have so much trash, convince myself to keep. Of course, like put work into it. Is that physical garbage or is it like mental garbage? Because I know there's a bit of both sometimes that we all have to do. Or even maybe talking about photos, I don't know. Droopy Penguin. Working on a project, take pics of my friends at university. They'll show them when they're done in 1.5 years time. That's cool. Yeah, I love that. Something with interesting meaning behind it. That's really cool. Our camera club's doing Lake District project in the spring. Sorry, I don't have to dictate all these, do I? You guys can read. Nice. That's a good idea, I think. Yeah, development of your local area. Documenting the change is always interesting to me. Gonna try for an exhibition on film, both 120 and 35. Nice. Oh, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate hard work. Sandra Wall. I'm glad you think so. I find my own videos very boring and awkward to watch. Steven, my man, personally shooting more tungsten balanced film, documenting interiors. Nice. Yeah, I do notice that in your shots sometimes. Architectural, meaningful buildings. Nice. Yeah, cool. Sounds like you're trying to think outside the box and get a little bit more creative. Yeah, but I like your everyday documentary stuff, just, out and about at a cafe or whatever. It's always very nicely shot. Yeah, new version of K1000. Someone has to do it eventually. 1 month, 2 cameras. Hey, another live sesh. Really hoping to curate everything I shot since March 2020. So my kids who are young have a collection to know and understand what life looked like through the pandemic. Yeah. Are you going to make a physical album? That'd be cool, because that's something I'm always trying to do with Sarah, is actually print all our memory photos and put them in physical albums, because I love going back and looking at the physical albums my parents made so much more than just trying to find the photo on an iPad or a TV slideshow, whatever. It's never the same. But yeah, it will be interesting looking back at this period in a few years' time from the different points of view of all the people around the world. My clients sucked all the creativity out of me in 2020. Sorry to hear. Try and take better portraits. Just wanted to make people look good. Real, authentic. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what you really want to do with a portrait, isn't it? Is show the real person, not the facade, which, I mean, a lot of portraits do, but they just tend to end up looking like advertisements for a brand or something like that. Or just glamorous, and you don't really see the soul or the person behind it. Looking to start a street photography club. I don't have much advice to that, because when I've had discussions about that, the thing about street photography is it's a very solitary kind of activity. Not to say you can't do it with friends. I go out and walk around with a friend to shoot street all the time. But even when you're doing it, you kind of end up having to go into your own zone and kind of recede into your own space when you're actually creating the actual work. And then you might link back together and talk and walk and then shoot again. But Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like, you just want to start a club, like a collective where you can share ideas and collaborate and all that. But I don't have any advice because I've never done it. I've thought about it. I just don't have the time to dedicate to it because there is a really nice group of photographers that I hang out with in Melbourne here, for example, or bump into, or I look at their work online. It would be cool to have a collective, like a club of some kind, where we can meet and talk and all that sort of stuff. But like in terms of actually executing it, I don't really have too much advice because I'm not the greatest at that stuff when it comes on to social media, and then I also haven't ever dedicated the time to do it. Lindbergh influence, nice. Got back into film 2018. I had a Vitessa, they're cool. Nice. It's not boring, it's informative. Glad you think so. I meant my garbage photos. All right, yeah, I realized that towards the end. Yeah. Yeah, see, I like looking back at my bad photos because I like seeing how far I've come or how I've changed. I even have photos as far back as when I was like 14 or 15 that I shot on like film back before digital. And then I went and learnt photography at uni where it was digital. And then I look at those photos and then sometimes like just appreciate how far I've come since then. But everyone's different, I guess, in that sense. Have I had experience of film being shipped internationally? Yeah, I have, yeah. If so, X-ray process messed up the film. No, I've often bought Kodak film from the US, whether it's through B&H or Amazon. I've even bought film from Japan through Amazon.jp. This was a while ago. They don't really ship easily here anymore. And I don't know if I bought film from Europe, but I've had film shipped from Europe from other people, from Silberzals, from Robin, for example, from Germany, and I've never had anything where X-rays have affected film and shipping. Maybe it's just that they don't use those strength of X-rays when it comes to shipping. I've always wondered that though. Canon bringing back the AE1. That would be cool. Love the 1 hour photo sign. Thanks. I love that sign too. It's my favorite thing in here. In terms of the room decor. I want to focus on film all the time, yeah. Have I shot it with A100T? No, I haven't. I think it was in a photo that was on Kodak Vision 500T in the background of a portrait or something, but I don't think the shot turned out very well. So I don't know if I ever looked at it a second time. Glad to see live chat much more busy than it used to be. Yeah, I know, right? Like I wouldn't have ever thought this channel would have come this far and that people would keep engaging. But this is what brings me back, is that I see these names that pop up all the time, all you regular guys, like even just scrolling back, Joel, Fluke, you know, all you guys that are here today, mostly people who I have noticed on the chats and live streams and videos before. And this is what I really love about YouTube, is there is this sense of community and engagement. And I wish, yeah, for that to keep happening going forward. I hope there's a better place than Instagram. Yeah, it's changed a lot. Limited the creativity by format. Yeah, a lot of people are moving to Twitter for their photography, and they're going as far as they call it photo Twitter. I sound like such a noob, but this is actually, you know, the terminology that gets used is that people are kind of going on photo Twitter, which is kind of a section, not a specific section, but kind of like a section that they've created, photographers have created to just share their photography, and they end up just obviously seeing each other's work because they're in the same sphere. And then there was Glass, which apparently failed miserably, but I don't know about that. Maybe it's still going. Cool to a club where you meet and critique prints and stuff. Yeah, I did that one time in late 2019, just before the pandemic started, and it was really cool. We did physical print swaps and everything, and a big meetup was planned to happen again and again, but then I had to put that all on the back burner. Maybe something like that needs to be done virtually now until the world returns to normal. Awesome cameras. Hey, man. Want to get back into making YouTube videos? Yeah. Your stuff was great. Didn't you go on like a massive road trip or something in one of your last videos I watched? Your stream's been inspiring me. I'm happy to hear, dude. I love your videos. Like, I noticed that they just disappeared at some point. It's Joey, right? Is that? I don't know, because there were two of you guys on the channel. I had film shipped from Russia, Hong Kong, Ireland. They were fine. Yeah, I don't know. They probably don't X-ray them. Would personally watch more awesome cameras videos. Yeah, I know a lot of people would. Your stuff was always fun, and I'm sure you'll come back soon. I had film go through X-rays. Airport had no problem. Yeah, I've had that too. As long as you don't check it in, I don't think it's a very low chance of anything ever happening. Do I have travel plans? Kinda. You know, it's hard to make solid plans for travel these days. If not, where would you go if the pandemic suddenly stopped tomorrow? So I and Sarah would like to go to India soon. May, June, hopefully. That's another reason I wanted the X100. But yeah, it's hard to really say for sure because of the state of the world right now. I think things will calm back down if I was just using my intuition in terms of all these like crazy cases and whatever, that in a couple of months this spike will recede way back again. So who knows? But yeah, it would be a lot of places that I would want to go. I really want to go to Morocco, Egypt, Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon, big Middle East trip like that. Eventually Europe, Canada would be cool. US, would be included. Yeah. I want to go to New Zealand again because New Zealand was awesome. But yeah, Sarah and I have this whole list. We call it a wonder list. And it really got put on hold. But, she's actually broken out and done a little trip at the moment. She's in Europe right now. She went to Germany and she's in Italy right now. So I'm glad that she is at least able to do that and having a good time. X-rays, more a problem if constantly exposed to it. Yeah. I did like multiple runs in the really old X-ray machines that they had in Bangladesh and Nepal, and multiple passes back and forth. And then we went to Japan and through their X-ray machines and back through Australia again. And none of my films seem to have been affected. There was some like rolls of Superior that looked like they had some weird fogginess, but it was so hard to tell whether it was even, number one, X-ray related, or if it's just condensation that I had from being in such humid environments when I was shooting, or a combination. And even then, the shots were still somewhat usable, or pretty usable. But there was some like haziness and fogging on some of the shots. And then that was because I went through maybe 10 X-rays and then a shot in humid environments, and could have just been that. Usually X-rays show waves on your film, from what I've heard, but it depends on the angle that the rays hit it. Try and develop black and white myself, even C41. Yeah, give it a try. Some people don't get into it or find it too much hassle, but I enjoy black and white processing. I don't enjoy C41 as much. I don't know why. It's not that it's that much harder. It's just more of a pain in the butt. Because I like being very casual when I'm processing, and with C41 you can't be as casual. Too bad Tumblr can't replace IG. Okay. I never got into Tumblr. Any device shooting E6 for the first time? Got a roll of Provia sitting around and I'm too scared to shoot it. Just do it and use a good light meter. Use expose for the highlights if you can. Try not to overexpose. I'm sure you've heard this all before. But don't be afraid. Just realize that you probably will have shots that don't turn out, that have bad exposures. But when you see the shots that do come out well, you'll love it. And Slide has a really unique look that everyone should experience, I think, at least once. And who knows how long Fuji will keep making Provia. So don't lose the opportunity to try it and maybe love it and then maybe buy more. Whereas if you just leave it in the fridge and never shoot it, you'll never know. I just shot a roll of Provia recently through the MA, which doesn't have a light meter. And I normally just use Sunny 16, which I kind of did for some shots, but I also had my Sekonic handheld just to kind of check how close I was and then make sure I was a little bit more accurate than I would normally be. And I haven't dropped that off yet, but I can't wait because I love slide film and it's just more expensive, that's all. You played for the glass sub, work-related research definitely hit a wall. Yeah, I remember we were chatting about it initially, and I was in the waiting list for the beta test, and I never heard back. And that was before they even announced that it was a paid thing. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I mean, some things just don't take off. The saturation of Instagram is too high, maybe, and now there's TikTok and there's Twitter and everything else. So you did Grand Canyon and Joshua Tree, yeah. Because I remember in one of your last videos, you announced that you were just going to hit the road and do a trip. Hannah, 2022, I certainly plan to shoot and print much more, as well as focusing on project work. Nice. Is it possible to dry film fully wound reels like the ones in Patterson tank? Probably not. It won't dry very evenly. I wouldn't advise it. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but it's better to hang it. It would save me a lot of space in terms of try it. Try it and let people know, because I don't know, maybe someone's tried it, but if you have good airflow and it's in the reel, I imagine the edges of the film would stay quite wet and you might have some weird marks once you pull it out. But if you have a roll that's like just a test roll, you don't care about it, I guess there's no harm trying. But I wouldn't suggest it for a roll that you care about. Oh, it is Joey. Cool. Derek was in a bunch of videos too. Yeah. You guys had some great... I love the videos like where you went out and, you know, shot at the carnival and stuff. And it was always fun to watch. You had a baby 2 years ago. Yeah, of course. That will do that. All right. Makes sense. Do I have a preference? I haven't developed a preference for photo bookmaking services yet. I've tried Blurb, and I'm still in the same situation as maybe you, where I'm kind of trying to test all the different products, and there is a lot of trial and error. I watch a lot of Dan Milner, and he was recently suggesting, what's this site called? I've got it up on my other browser. Sorry, microphone. MagCloud. And he was talking about how he uses MagCloud to make little books, and I'm going to try them next to print a working test copy of my my current series as a work in process that I can maybe show people as I'm shooting it. Because he suggested using what they call, it's like a press pamphlet or book or digest or something like that. Yeah, but they seem really cheap and they actually ship internationally for decent prices. Yeah, I did a quote and it wasn't too bad. So they'll be the next place I try it. I've tried Mixam, Blurb, local printers, but I've yet to settle. And I don't know if I'll go with maybe an offset printer for my next product. Still, yeah, it's a big learning curve, and a lot of trial and error is involved because you have to figure out what's suitable for your style of photography. What prints well for black and white might be very different to what color prints well on. When someone says India, I think of colors and awesome food. Yeah. Most visited Lebanon when I was 16. Got to get back and shoot one day. Yeah, that would be really cool. I hadn't been back since I was 8 to 10 years old was when we lived there. And that was early 90s, mid 90s. So I'm sure a lot's changed. You can color grade Provia to look like Kodachrome. Not entirely perfect. Yeah, I've seen that. People push process it to kind of get a little bit more contrast out of it and color shifts. I did push Ektachrome hoping that it would bring it closer to Kodachrome, which maybe it kind of did, but it's still not the same. I did a video on that if anyone's interested. Would love to shoot it. Intimidating to expose. Yeah, I mean, wasn't it intimidating the first time you ever shot film, right? I mean, everyone was probably afraid to even just shoot that first roll of negative. So it's the same thing. You just have to do it. Just be willing to lose the cost. Just tell yourself, look, if I stuff up this $20 roll of Provia or whatever, I'm not going to be super upset about it because that is part of the fun. And then when you get a few good shots or none or a whole bunch of good ones, you can't really blame anyone but yourself, and you took a risk, and that's fine. Have I tried black and white slide? I haven't, but I've actually been talking about trying this and doing the black and white reversal with either Adox Scala or with even some other films like, you know, Lomo's Babylon or something like that, because yeah, that would be cool. I might actually do a video on that one day. Joshua, what's up? New film photography. Hey, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, if you're new, I hope you just enjoy the journey into it. I remember that was such a good time getting into the film, getting back into it, in my case, I guess, because I did shoot it as a teenager and then switched at university. And then getting back into it was a lot of fun because, yeah, when I shot as a teenager, it wasn't really as a photographer. It was just because it was casual shots with plastic cameras or just stealing my dad's camera or whatever. And I wasn't actually into photography until after university. And I remember getting into film was just reinvigoration, you know, in a way, like making photography fun again, because it got dull shooting just digital for the first few years. Awesome cameras, the GOAT. Yeah. Is that Russian? You can dry the film in reels using a hairdryer at low heat. Okay, that can interesting. You have to put the negs in sleeves and then in a book to flatten the negs. Ah, yeah, because you'll dry them curly. That's another point. Yep. How worth is an external light meter? If you don't shoot very much, you're only casually getting into this, I would say just get an app on your phone, the light meter app. There's plenty of good ones now. And then if you want to take it a little bit more seriously, then it might be worth investing the few $100s. These days, a lot of decent light meters are coming out that sit on top of a camera hot shoe, like little attachment ones. But I think it's better to either just use the built-in meter if your camera has one, or go straight to like a handheld Sekonic meter with a bulb, because it gives you a lot more flexibility to try and learn about how light falls on a surface and shadows and highlights and metering for different parts of a scene. And, you know, you walk up and you put the meter at someone's chin or their face or on the right side or the left side, and you get different readings. Like even right now, you can see that subtle difference in lighting on my face. You'll learn a lot more by metering for the actual, you know, area. And that's why I really like those handheld meters for learning about light. But you can do the similar thing with the app if you want, if you're just getting into it. But I think eventually it's worth upgrading. Do I have mine here somewhere? Yeah, but you know, those little handheld meters are about $200 or $300. They're not too bad. Fluke. Blobe is owned by MagCloud, actually. Okay. Oh. One printer I want to try is Artifact. Interesting. Has anyone done a comparison of developing HP fiber Tri-X? Jesus, who is this Squirtle douchebag that always joins my live streams? Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this person. Sorry, Squirtle. I like Pokemon, but I don't like you. Joel, just PSA, people get in CLA for their main cameras. Just my SRT 202 Spotmatic service. They feel incredible and will last for a long time. Yeah, SRTs are really good. I want to try my own photographic niche. It's quite a challenge. Cool, guys. I think this stream's gone pretty long. What are we at now? Yeah, really long. I don't think I've streamed for this long in a while. But it was good to catch up with you all. All right, man, whatever. I'm glad that I'm obviously popular enough to get a bunch of trolls now at this point. So clearly a Pokemon fan too. Oh, hey, Trent, how's it going, man? Yeah, I'm about to end things. Thanks for joining. Jesus. Yeah, I hope you guys all have a good start to 2022 and that you have good plans for your photography and whatnot. I will be doing some more videos soon. As mentioned, one of my previous streams going to do that Mamiya 645 review and comparison to other 645 systems like the Pentax. What else? I got a few other things lined up, but I'll leave that secret for now. Hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you on the next stream or video. All right, guys. See you soon.